Hey, everybody, welcome to the Watering Hole, our live. For those of you who are joining, those of you who will be watching the replay, we are like getting comfortable today. Take these glasses off. We're going to get comfortable today and have a little chat. I know it's Sunday night in Cali and Sunday afternoon in Hawaii and Sunday night on the East Coast. It's Monday morning over here in Bali, baby. So I'm having coffee, but like, have what you want. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we're gonna like chop it up. We're gonna be on for about, I think maybe an hour and just like talk about whatever we want to talk about today. But we've been talking about healing. We have been talking about grieving on this channel. We've been talking about shifting identities into like the new people that we have to become as life be life in. But this is an open opportunity for us to just like connect and get to know each other. So we're not going to put any limitations on what we talk about. And of course, if there's any questions, either during this conversation or on the replay, when you watch it and you're like, I need to know this, go ahead and put them in the comments. And yeah, we'll do our best to answer them. You should know I am an extroverted introvert, so I'm not really like that person who loves being online like that. But we are again shifting identities, so we're gonna do our best. So that means that I'll answer as many questions as I can. uh, yeah. Oh my God, I have to put my glasses on. I can't see. Yes, like the live and subscribe to the channel. Yes, please. Please do that. Thank you, Turtle Diaries. Mm, we have been like getting a lot of views on the shorts. The shorts are on fire, and we've passed like, I think it just said, I got a notice this morning that it was like 25,000 views. Which is kind of cool because we've only been up for like 2 months, right? And so, yeah, it's resonating. And we passed our first 100 subscribers on the channel, which made me very happy because I totally wanted to be like, hey, let's celebrate 100 subscribers when we got here today. But at the time, we only had like 33, 93, 93. I was like, oh, will there be 100? And there are like 104 of us. So welcome to the Watering Hole. And I'm really glad that you guys are here because that means that the stuff that's being pumped out from this channel is in landing in the hearts and landing in the minds of folks who really need it. And having been on a healing journey and a grief journey myself mine started about 12 years ago. Hi, Kingdom Fuel. About 12 years ago, when my husband Jermaine passed away, is like when you start entering that kind of life and that kind of journey, like you're not really ready for it. And there really isn't, I don't know that there's a lot that can prepare you for it. I mean, I had gone through a lot of stuff before, but when that phase of my life jumped onto the scene, um, I don't know that I was ready for it. And so it's like a lot of stuff coming all at once when you're fresh in it. And I'm not sure where everybody is in their healing journey. I definitely want to hear. And I'm gonna ask some questions like, where are we on our healing journey and stuff. But I know for me, I was not prepared. And so, I really hope that the stuff that is released from this channel and from this community that we're building together really lands and continues to land where you live and where you're at in your journey so that like it can help you keep healing and help you keep like reaching for the light at the end of the tunnel, reaching for your next iteration and like the next like thriving kind of thing. And I have to say, doing this channel has made me enter into another like level of healing that I was not expecting. And it was like, well, shit. doing this. And so I'm like, oh, so we're all on this healing journey together, which again is my point that we're all in like different phases along the way. So welcome, welcome, fam. Glad to have you here. Also, I'm going to have a little giveaway at the end of this live for everybody who's joined us. So hopefully you'll be able to stick around. But if you're not able to stick around for the whole thing, then send me your email at info@findingyourglow.com. And I'll put that down in the comments below. Send me your info at info@findingyourglow.com. And we'll send you your little gift because we definitely want to celebrate you and celebrate you being here and like formally welcome you into the community. So, ta-da! That's my spiel. Welcome, Radiant Rainbow. Glad to have you here. MB Touring Production. Love to have you here. Oh, I love you guys. Okay, so for those of you guys who are checking in now, like let me know where you're checking in from. Where are you in the world? I'm in Bali right now. I'm kind of a nomad, so I kind of get around. But where are you guys checking in from today? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Do, do, do. I see some California. Hi, Cali, my hometown. Yeah, for those of you guys don't know, I'm from Los Angeles originally. I'm one of the few people who can call Los Angeles my native home. Everybody else is a transplant. We allowed to come soak up the sun and soak up the LA vibes. But yeah, born and raised in LA. Lived in Hollywood for a while, and it's not what it looks like in the movies. Hi, Los Angeles. Hey, Cali. What's up? Glad to have you here. Mm-mm. Hi, LA. Got some West Coast happening over here. LA, California. Yay. Hi, Cali. Hi. What's up, Cali love? Hello, Jacqueline West 635. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I know you're busy, ma'am. I know you're a busy lady. Thank you for being here today. Mm-hmm. What's up, Bali? My partner in crime. What's up? Love having a friend in Bali. I've traveled around a lot. I've always been a traveler. My mom was a singer, so we moved around a lot and went to, I think, 13 elementary schools. We moved around a lot. And so I've always been a bit of a nomad. And then 2017, after my mom passed away, I got rid of everything in my house and hit the road again. And I was traveling around by myself. I was doing a lot of solo travel for about 5 or 6 years, something like that. And solo travel's got its perks. It's got its, you experience the world in a very particular way where there's no buffer. And so it's just everything that's happening in the atmosphere, it's happening in real time, close to you and on you kind of thing. But when you've got people that you're traveling with and you've got friends and family that you travel with, it's a totally different experience, I found, and they both have their merits. But I have to say, I do enjoy having company these days because it gets a little lonely on the road when you're traveling by yourself for a long time. So glad to have my partner, Paul Henri, with me out here in Bali, baby. Mm. Okay. So tell me this while we're saying hi and checking in and stuff. Tell me if you, well, where you are in your healing journey. Like, have you lost someone that was close to you? Have you been healing? And honestly, like one thing I always love saying the name of my people, like Jermaine and Nate and my mom. Like, I always enjoy like saying their names because it makes them present and it makes them close. And you don't always have an opportunity to like, this world's so fast and everything's happening so fast all the time that people don't really slow down a lot to really hear you or to hear what's going on. And especially when you're talking about, healing and, coming up from the depths of grief, you don't really have a chance a lot of times to like talk about your person, so tell me where you are in the comments in your healing journey, and if you want to drop the name or the names of your people, please do, so we can like celebrate with you their life and their contribution to the light in this world. Everybody's saying hi. Hi. And of course, if you got any questions too that I haven't already addressed in the live so far, or something that's been coming up during your watch of the content on the Watering Hole, definitely let me know. Mm, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dr. ND3. Yes. Nathaniel Duffy the third. Father and dearest friend, celebrating his life every day. My God, isn't that true? Yeah, we share this spiritual father, and what a loving person, honestly. When he passed on, this was definitely like light that went out of the world. But he was such a great teacher that he taught us how to oh, I see you, great chef. He taught us how to continue to talk with him and interact with him beyond this life. Like, he spent the last year of his life teaching us uh, how to keep that connection, which is it's carried on the wavelength of love, how to keep that connection going beyond having a physical presence on this earth. It was like the greatest gift ever, um, and that we didn't know that we were going to need. That's how I took it. That's how I took it. Um, okay, so let's see. Great chef, where you are in the journey. Yeah, where you are in the world, where you are in your journey, name your person. Yeah. So I'm learning how to use this program, so bear with me, guys. Um, I see one here. What's one small first step someone could take today if they're struggling? What a good question. I think one small step that you could take today is to um, know two things. Know that you're not crazy, and that feeling off and feeling like you're struggling is part of the process. And there are a lot of days that are like that. There are a lot of days that are like that. I think that alongside that is a very a very important thing to remember, and that is that you're not alone. And there's like a lot of people who have experienced a lot of things that you're experiencing and that you've been experiencing. And for me personally, that brought a measure of comfort when people would open up and like share that and not just be moving on and like in the chaos of life. um, Knowing that you're not alone and knowing that that this experience that you're having is a very human experience, and that's part of what I wanted to like get on this channel to do is that um, you know, offer some comfort that there is something beyond just feeling the pain and the struggle, right? So, giving yourself a lot of grace for the off days and giving yourself grace while you are walking through your day to day moments, knowing or believing or hoping that it's going to break, and it will break. If you keep moving, it will break. Um, and um, and being kind to yourself, knowing that this is a human experience, a very, I won't say common, but we all experience it at some point in our lives. And honestly, I feel like you you don't really know the depths that you can love and um, know the um, places in within you that people live in you without experiencing some kind of grief or some kind of pain. I don't wish it on anybody, but at the same time, it does carve things out of you and reveal things that you don't know that you have in you before you have to, you know, live in that kind of moment. So I hope that answered the question. If you got some more, if you want to hear more on that, then let me know and I will answer some more. Let's see. I see you, Kingdom Fuel. I see you. Good questions. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay. I'm gonna take this one. Hello, Kingdom Fuel. Been walking out of healing. My father's passing, David Owen, passing of my best friend and mentor, the doc. Yeah, you've been walking that out. Um, how has that been? How's that been going? Like, what does that look like for you? What does walking it out look like for you? Hit us up in the comments. Of course, I'm talking about the doc here, and I didn't really know your dad. I met your dad, but I didn't really know your dad. So I'd love to hear how you are walking that out and what that looks like. Like what hacks have happened in your life to help you do that. Ah! I knew it was going to be some kind of jungle situation. We're here in Bali in the middle of the jungle in Ubud, and there's all kinds of wildlife, like all over the place. So jumping spiders, okay? Jumping spiders. I'm going to come back to you, Kingdom Fuel. Thank you for sharing who your person is and who your people are. And we celebrate Dave Owen, a mighty man of God, and the doc, again, a mighty man of God, who have themselves made mighty men and women of God. So we celebrate them today. Thank you guys for commenting and sharing your people. This is beautiful. See you, great chef. Been walking out, healing of my mom's death, still healing from the disappointment of that loss, even after 30 years. Yeah, it's like grief doesn't have a time limit at all. I've been seeing a lot of, now that I'm putting stuff out, a lot of the algorithm is coming, bringing people who are also grieving and talking about their grief journeys through through their processing as well. And there's like people all over the spectrum who, lost someone a couple of years ago or lost someone 6 months ago, and then people who lost others like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and it's being very, very fresh. And honestly, I applaud the courage to like touch those wounds and like wiggle those things around, because when my experience, when I first started feeling some measure of healing coming to me, I didn't want to touch it anymore. You're like, put it away. I don't want to touch it anymore. Let's let it just sit still so that it doesn't hurt like that anymore. And I have to say, I applaud anyone and everyone who goes back in to touch those hurting parts, to make them see if there's some relief to be found there. Like, healing is courageous work. Healing is courageous work. It's extremely rewarding, but it is no doubt courageous work. And yeah, if you're still healing from the disappointment and the loss, I'm sending my heart out to you, sis. I'm sending my heart out to you. That is, I don't know, like I still haven't really fully been unpacking my mom's passing. And she passed in 2016. So like coming up on 10 years now. And like your mom is she's like your first relationship and the greatest influence a lot of times in your relationship. And I find that I can only unpack some of it, you know, sometimes. And I've talked a lot about Jermaine passing, and I haven't really talked a lot yet about Doc, but I haven't talked about my mom really at all. And for those of you, you're like, you talk about these people, what about your dad? My dad, I wasn't in his life and I wasn't close to him. We weren't close while he was alive, but he passed away before all of them. And so, this unpacking of different grief, like I haven't even gotten to some of it yet. That's why I'm like, I'm not an expert here. I'm on a journey myself. I'm healing and learning how to navigate some of the most complicated emotions and feelings that have ever crossed my path. And I believe that it is very, very courageous to go in and allow those parts of you that have become, still, while they found some kind of place to land, they became still. I feel like it's very courageous, and I want to just encourage all of us to keep getting the healing. Like, keep meeting with your therapist. If you don't have a therapist, get a therapist. Keep meeting with your healers. Keep doing the things. It may not be talk therapy, but it may be like a lot. For me, I travel a lot, and travel helps me to heal. But maybe your thing is something else. And whatever that thing is, honestly, we owe it to ourselves to give ourselves those things, because the one thing I've learned in walking through this healing journey is that tomorrow is not promised. And whatever you're going to do, you should do it today. You should do it immediately. You should do it soon. And give yourself the gift of living a very full life, and especially give yourself the gift of living it as healed as you can possibly be, right? Just adds more joy to it, just adds more joy. And I don't think there's too much joy that we can have in our lives. Just saying. Okay, I'm in the comments again. Was there a low point you're comfortable sharing? What did that look like? Thank you. Yeah. How does one forgive someone who's hurt you deeply, especially when the person who hurt you has passed? What a good question. What tools, practices, or people made the biggest difference? Like getting therapy. Oh, I see you, Kingdomfield. Getting therapy about your dad. Getting therapy, reconnecting with his spirit as he exists now in heaven, allowing myself to feel and grieve and talk out loud with my friends and the Lord. This is a beautiful thing. I'm going to put this up, and then I'm going to go back and answer some of these other questions. But I'm going to put this up now because this is this is a solid blueprint. This is a solid blueprint. And I appreciate, like, we talk about therapy, and I think that, if you're a woman or you're talking to women, then it's like, yeah, you know, you go get therapy. But I think that therapy is still kind of a taboo, and I'm not doing that with men. And honestly, I think people are people, and we all need somebody to talk to, and we all need someone who is dedicated to just listening to us and allowing for some safe space to let out the pain that is impossible perhaps to let out with the people who are closest to us in our lives. It's like we've got family, we've got friends, and we have these different relationships um, that are very important and that do what they do, right? But it's not always a safe, or it doesn't always feel like a safe space to um, let out some of the deeper things that are happening on the inside of us. Um, yeah, I see you. Um, and that's what therapists do, and all therapists aren't great therapists. And so there is some trial and error in it. And you got to know that going into it. It's like going on a date. You're like, I'm going to go on this date, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to marry this person, but I'm just going to find out who this person is, and if this person is someone I want to spend time with, if this is a safe space for me to allow myself to just be. And I think that that's the same with therapists. I've gone to therapists, and I have left that therapist and found another one. And I think that going into a therapy journey, you have to give yourself permission to leave if it doesn't feel right, and to try again. And that's the most important part. Not to just leave and be like, you know what, therapy didn't work, I'm never doing it again, but to go and find someone else. Because especially as cray cray as this life is and everything that's going on, it doesn't really matter what country you're like tuning in from. It's crazy all over the place, right? And there are light workers, and there are people who have been gifted with a particular kind of heart to carry other people in their hearts and to help them navigate really tough scenarios in their lives. And I think, honestly, I think we all need therapy at this point. I think we all need someone who can provide some safe space for an hour once a week or a couple times a month, and just offload some of the heaviness so that we have more capacity to live, think, breathe, to love ourselves, to love other people, and figure out what our next steps in life are. And I love what you're saying too, Kingdom Fuel, about reconnecting with His Spirit. Like I was saying earlier, this life, the vapor between this life and the next life is very thin. It's a breath. And without getting, I'm not a psychic, I'm not like channeling the dead and all that kind of stuff. I'm not that person, but I do believe that our God is a God of the living and not the dead. And that when you have the Spirit of God on the inside of you, this cord and connection of love, which I believe is eternal, doesn't break. And you can have relationship with the person that has passed on, that you love, through that conduit of love, and still be able to interact with them. So I have interactions with my husband, who's not my husband now because, till death do us part, right? But he's always also one of my best and dearest friends. So I still have connection. I still feel his spirit come close to me. I still feel like I get help. I still have connection with my mom. I still have connection with my spiritual father and my dad. Like, part of this healing process over these years has been understanding that the person that my dad was in this life is not who he is in the life that he's living now. And there's been such a healing that's transpired in my life, um, through navigating these other healings, that it's opened up an ability to be able to have forgiveness with my dad and to heal old wounds, that you think that they're not, it's over, and there's no reconciliation, and there's no healing to be done because that person is now gone. And so you just have to carry that grief and carry that wound and carry that heaviness with you throughout the rest of your life. And that's not true. Honestly, the healing journey that you embark on, eventually it'll get into those parts too. And if you're anything like me, some of the gravest wounds that seemed like they were just going to be there forever because they were not ever resolved on this side of life have been being resolved on this side of my life. And I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you, Kingdom Fuel. I appreciate your comment. Yeah. Yeah. Therapy, getting therapy. Very true. I'm gonna go back to some of these questions. Oh, you know what? On the same thread, Kingdom Fuel, I'm gonna put you up again, brother. And then MV Touring Production, I'm gonna answer your question. How does one forgive someone who's hurt you deeply, especially when the person who hurt you has passed? I'm going to answer this question, and then I'm going to answer this question too, because they go hand in hand. Was there a low point you're comfortable sharing? Let's see, this is 2026, so probably about 3 years ago. I'm talking about my dad, which is very interesting. I did not know or think that I'd be talking about this person today, but here we go. Um, I was in Kauai. I went to go visit Kauai, because Kauai is my happy place, and it's where I go and I can be like some of my most authentic self, and just take everything off. Like, it's very wild for me. I'm like, hair goes wild. I might brush my teeth every few days, just like at the beach, and I um, like I said, my dad and I had a very tumultuous relationship, and we had a very distant relationship. It was tumultuous, and then it became distant, and then it'd be tumultuous again, and then distant again. And that lasted for the majority of my life and my upbringing. I was raised in California, like I said, but he didn't live in California. And I had this crisis in the middle of the night. I'd gotten triggered by something that I saw online, and it made me really, really sad, because I felt like, and I'll kind of describe the triggering a little bit. I saw this post about someone who had received a letter from her father, um, that showed up after he passed away, and I was like, did I ever get a letter? Did I have a letter? And it made me start thinking about my dad and how he wasn't how he wasn't there, and how he was absent, and and I went into this really, really dark place, because it made me think about how absent he was. It made me think about the things that I experienced in my life that I think and thought would have been different had he been there. It made me, I was deeply wounded. I was very, very deeply wounded. And I had an experience with my dad in the spirit by that time. I'd had like one or two experiences out of the blue, but I was really still feeling very hurt and feeling very distant, and really still seeing him as the person he presented as in this life. I didn't see him. I couldn't still couldn't see that having passed on from this life into the next life, that he had shed all that there was about being a human being, and the frailties and the failures and the very humanness of being a human being. Like when we cross over and we pass over, when our people cross over and we pass over, only the things that are salvageable, only those things that are full of light, only those things that are full of love go beyond this life. And we leave those things, those human frailties and all the rest of that on this side of this life, right? So I was still new at coming into understanding that on this particular night. And so I'm in Kauai, it's like the middle of the night, and I'm pissed off and I'm like hurting, and I feel fresh hurt and fresh rejection and fresh abandonment and all these things. And and I called out to my dad. I'm like, how am I supposed to deal with this? How am I supposed to like navigate this? And I mean, I was furious. I'm a very emotional person, right? I'm like, ah, right? Luckily, I was in the middle of nowhere in Kauai, so I can yell as much as I wanted to, and like nobody cares, right? So I was like, how am I supposed to deal with this? And I heard something immediately in my spirit. And what I heard was, say thank you for what you know that I did and what you don't know that I did for you. And I was like, what? Right? Um, I was like, whoa. And so it was such an unexpected comment. Like, that didn't come from me, right? That would never have come from me. That did not come from me. But it was extremely loud, and I knew that it came from a very real place in the spirit. And it came from my dad, who was responding to me from the spirit world, right? And I didn't have anything to really, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do when I heard it. And so I just paused for a long time. And then I did what I heard. I said, thank you. I said, thank you, Dad, for what I know that you did for me. And thank you for what I don't know that you did for me. And I felt this, God, I felt this wave of peace fall on me. It just felt like it was like, and it fell on my head, it fell over my heart, and I felt like this ball that was on the inside of me that was like locked up like this, of pain and rejection and abandonment and where were you, and all the pain that I'd experienced beyond just that relationship, but that was a core element of. I felt it just open up on the inside of me, and I just started crying. I just started crying. I just started crying. I ended up on the deck of that house and just cried for about an hour. And I felt in that time the continuous waves of more and more healing come. And I felt the gratitude that I didn't feel before I said thank you. I felt that gratitude start to wave over me as well. And it was this moment, and it didn't cure everything. It didn't heal everything. I wasn't like, oh, everything is fixed now. It wasn't a fix, but it was a small amount of healing, a small measure of healing that I needed in that moment, that has continued to push me forward into more experiences and more healing, and expanding into more space being made for me to forgive, and for me to understand the humanness of people, and how it's not, being an adult and being a human is harder than it looks. Um, and it's allowed me to give a lot more grace to my dad on when he was on this side of things than I had before. So thank you for your question. I hope that answered it. We went deep. I was not expecting that. Thank you also, Kingdom Fuel, for your question. Um, Thank you, brother. Turtle Diaries. My dad, who raised me, was a spoken word artist and DJ. Sometimes I'll hear a song. Let me put this up. My dad, who raised me, was a spoken word artist and DJ. Sometimes I'll hear a song or a whole playlist, and I feel like it's him sending me music. Ah, is that weird? No, that's not weird. That is not weird. That's actually very beautiful. Um, thank you, Turtle Diaries. In my experience, um, music is, obviously music is music we hear, but music is also an angel. There's an angel named music. And I know this because I have a lot of worship friends who have experienced this angel themselves and interacted with it. Um, and also, I spent this time, I used to live in Maui, and I was in Hana one time, and I was just about to leave, and I was listening to some music because I love music. And I started thinking about um, how I've always loved music, and I started remembering how I used to just sit at my mom's feet as she was playing piano when I was a kid, and just like listen to her play and just like be so enraptured with it. And I'm like, I've just loved music forever. I'm like, and then I heard a voice, and the voice said, "Yes, it's because I was your mother's angel." And then I heard, and you inherited me from her. And I was like, oh, right. I was like, oh, and I started crying again. I'm a crier, right? Started crying again. So I feel like that is absolutely beautiful. And what you're experiencing, Turtle Diaries, is that angel, and very likely that angel that was passed to you from your dad. So that's really beautiful. Congratulations, and like follow it, because our angels are our spirit guides. They lead us into more and more joy and more life and more expression. So that music angel, I dare say you're going to find leading you into more and more music. Thank you for your comment. Ah, yeah. What a beautiful live. What a beautiful chat. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're welcome, MV Touring Production. I was not expecting to be that transparent. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And we also, Turtle Diaries, we celebrate your dad with you. Thank you for bringing him into this live with us. I feel the love on here, you guys. Thank you. I see a question here from what tools, practices, or people made the biggest difference? Mm. That's a tough question. I think because there's been so much. Um, I'll start with the people. Honestly, the people, when I first started entering my healing journey, the people that were clutch, because the first group of people who catch you when you fall, clutch, man. Um, my friend Clarissa and my friend Kendra, my God, they saved my life. My friends Grant and Christina, my God, they saved my life. My God. Um, I had a very close church family at the time. Again, I've been traveling out in the world for many years now, so unfortunately, we lose some relationships along the way, but some of them are still there. And there was a lot of love around me, and that's one thing I think. I just did a recording recently. I'm going to post it in a week or so. And I was talking about how when you're grieving, there are times when you just like want to push everybody away, you know, and you just want to be alone. You don't want anybody to touch you. You don't want anybody to be close to you. You want to push everybody away. And I think one of the biggest tools and things that helped me was I was how surrounded by love that I was. And I think that one of the biggest hacks is to let people around you love you and don't push them away. And don't try to thug it out and go it alone. You don't want to do that. Um, a lot of times when you lose someone really close to you, and you feel that shock, you don't ever want to feel that shock again. And you never want to feel that pain again. So you start pushing people away, and you start like not wanting to get close. You don't want to let people in very closely and to touch you or to, you know, be in your life very closely again, for fear that what if they go? What if they pass away and I have to live through this again? And, you know, there's no, there's no really experiencing love without risking loss. And, you know, a couple of years after Jermaine passed away, I had this moment. I went for a walk at the beach, and I'd been grieving hardcore for a couple of years, like I said, by that time. But I went for a walk at the beach one day, and I got out of my car and started walking, and this thought just dropped on me out of the blue, and it stopped me cold in my steps. And that was that if I had to go through everything that I'd gone through in order to experience the love that I'd experienced, I'd do it again. Stop me cold, because I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not trying to like have my heart broken and bleeding out like this again, but there's only one way to really experience really deep love, and that is to open yourself up for it. And that can sometimes mean that it's not going to last for long, or it's not going to last forever. But the rewards and the depths and who you become by loving and being loved that way, best thing ever. Best thing ever. And for those of you who've been like following for a while, you've heard me say that I learned from the Spirit of God that the most important thing in this life is to learn love, to learn to love, and to learn to be loved. And there's only one way to really experience true and authentic love, and that is to open yourself up to it. And that necessarily means a level and a degree of risk. And you can mitigate that risk. Like, you don't want to just give your heart out to anybody and everybody, because everyone isn't worthy of it, and everyone isn't going to be gentle with you and treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. And so there is some discernment that's needed in there. But once you do find your person, or you do find your people who will create, again, a safe space for you and love you and be tender with you, you got to open up. You got to let them in. And healing will do that. Healing will help you do that. That the richness in being loved and being loved well, and allowing the expression of your love to like manifest in this realm, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And I believe if we do more of it, and that we'll see a very different world that we live in. Love, 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 love. My answer is love. Okay. Thank you for your question. Christmas tree. Thank you for going live. Thank you for being here with us. Mm. Oh, thank you, Kingdom Fuel. He said that I'm real, relatable, and authentic. I can listen all day. Love you. Love you. Thank you. Mm-mm-mm. Love does bring healing. This is a good one. I've been a runner in my life too. Hi, David Dunbar. Good to see you here. Hi, hi, hi. Uh, yeah. I think honestly, so for those who are not reading what the comment says, love truly does bring healing. I've been a runner in my past, so I'm working on the let people love you part. I think personally that COVID really did a number on us. And we've all run from arguably one of the biggest things that's happened in our generation. Like, we've run from it, and like it didn't happen. It was just like a few years ago, though, dude, man. It was like this just happened. And I believe that COVID altered us in a way that we have not really stopped to really quantify. And everybody was so ready to get out of the house and so ready to like let let us come back to some normalcy again, because the panic and the fear was pervasive. It was real. We were legit all locked in our houses, for the better part of a year or two. Europe was locked in the house for like a couple of years, dude. And um and that changed us. And I think that it changed who we are fundamentally as humans and our capacity to love and let love into our lives. And I think that um, without really addressing how that event affected us, um, that we'll continue to walk through this life handicapped in our love walk. And honestly, again, I heard from the Spirit of God that the highest pursuit of this life is to learn love, to learn to love, and to learn to be loved. God, there's a monster. There's a monster flying through the house. um, yeah, and so if we aren't majoring on our love, and healing is required to be able to love, if we're not majoring on that, then we're always going to be at this deficit, and we're always going to run. And I think that running is not the wrong response if people aren't treating you well, and if they're not allowing you to be, and be lovable, and be enough. Like, be enough to be loved and be enough to be lovable. And beyond COVID, social media too, it's like it's this very inauthentic space, where everybody's just pretending. And so you show up as your real self, and it's like, who are you? You're like, no, I need the glossy version. I need the glossy version. And we just need to be enough, you know, and being enough and being loved for just being enough is a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. So if people aren't treating you well, you need to run. But every now and then you got to take off your track shoes, I think, and pause and find out if maybe this might be something. Mm, yeah, I agree. It's scary to open up sometimes. I think there is a fear to letting people love you that deeply. Real talk, real talk, real talk, real talk. But I also think that it's contagious. Like, I think that if you can open up a little bit and give people a little bit of space to, try them out and see if they love you, or if they can love you, or if they'll allow you to be loved by them. I thought I saw something hop into the house. Please let that not be true. Um, then it can be an inspiration for other people to be like, okay, I'm going to try you a little bit. I'm going to try a little bit. I will say this that I have learned is that everybody's got an early child wound story, you know, and how we are, how we show up in the world is directly contributable to how we were raised and how we were loved early on in our life. And so a lot of times we'll meet people and you'll, you know, do this thing where you're opening up with them and then they open up with you and then something happens, and then it all falls apart. And you're left wondering what the hell happened and what did I do wrong and all the rest of it. And really what you're dealing with is an unhealed wound from early on in their childhood that they haven't gotten healing for yet. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or anything wrong with them. It just means that healing is necessary there. And where there is an absence of healing, it is extremely difficult to love and be loved. And so that means that we have to give a lot of grace to people who are on their journey and on their healing journey, because, as I say, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a long time to get messed up and a longer time sometimes to heal from getting messed up. But again, if we can agree to get into some therapy, get into some healing work, do whatever feels good or fits your ideology and fits your lifestyle for your healing, I think we're going to find more capacity to find the love that we're looking for in this life and to give the love that we're looking to give and share in this life. Yeah. Ooh, good question. Rebecca Eve, never hide. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How do you identify healthy love? Love this question. What a good question. Um, how do you identify healthy love? Well, I'll start at the beginning because, first of all, God is love, right? God is love. And and that sounds very trite, and we hear it from all of the folks, oh, God is love. But truly, they got it from someplace. God is love, right? And love, love, any kind of identification of healthy love is going to look like God's love. So I would heartily suggest that before you start looking for love from other people, that you first start a spiritual relationship where you're finding God's love for you, right? And again, for those of you guys who are following me on social media, you'll see me God's love over women, God's love over women and men. Um, there's this giant bug flying through the house. I swear he's like this big. I think he's gone now. Damn near the size of a bird. Um, and so you want to, you really, you're never going to find a love outside of yourself that is not first being reflected within you. And so I think that the first step is to find the Spirit of God and ask the Spirit of God, invite the Spirit of God to come in and love you and teach you what love looks like. He did that for me. There was a time back in the day when I was single before I was married, before I was married, I'm single now, before I was married, before, I was running the streets. I was running the streets and I was wounded and looking for love and looking for someone to love me. And I kept getting my heart broken again and again and again and again and again. It was it was a blood sport at one point. And I went to God and I was like, heartbroken from like the latest guy that had not shown up for me. And I was like, I need help. And I've heard the Spirit of God tell me, he's like, come away with me and let me teach you love. Right. And I was like, okay, right. And I thought it was going to be, a few weeks, a couple of months, maybe 5, 6 months, something like that. It ended up being 7 years. And we're sharing a lot here. I was celibate for 7 years, while God taught me what love looked like, what love sounded like, what love felt like, what it smelt like all the senses. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be celibate for 7 years. I'm not saying you need to go the road that I went at all. Everybody's got their journey. That was mine. I had a lot of healing that needed to be done during that time. And when the 7 years were over, the number of completion, for those of you numerologists, when that was over, then that's when my husband showed up, and I was able to enter into a relationship, more healed than I would have been had I not been through that process. And again, I was not planning for it to be 7 years. I was just as shocked as anybody else, right? But but spending that time with God, and letting Him systematically love the hurt off of my heart and teach me what love looked like and what it did not look like, was a game changer for me. So my first recommendation is to spend time with God and spend time with yourself, loving yourself and being loved on by the Spirit that doesn't have any ulterior motives. It's not, I'll give you this love if you give me this. Interacting with the Spirit of God is really receiving. So that would be my first recommendation, is that you're never going to be able to identify love in another person for you, or love coming in your direction from another person, if it's not reflected within you and reflected in your spiritual relationship, because love truly is a spiritual thing. It's not a natural thing. Human beings do not naturally love. You can look around the world and see that there's no natural love running around the planet. Love truly is a spiritual thing. And so if you're going to experience love at any point in your life, you're going to have to navigate it in the Spirit. And doing it not in the Spirit is where you're going to experience all the drama, all of the drama, all of the like, what the fuck, all of the hurt and the heartbreak and the rest of it. Because human beings, the only way that we can channel real love is if we're channeling it from the Spirit. So I believe that once you have had experiences with the Spirit of God, the Spirit of love, and you allow that love to like wash over you, that when you meet other people, when you come into contact with other people and you're experiencing their love, you'll be able to gauge it based upon what you've experienced. Is this what love felt like when God was loving me? And if it's not, you need to back up a little bit and give a little space, because again, you're dealing with their trauma and where they've not been healed, and you just got to give a little room for them to come to a place where they're channeling more through the Spirit of that spiritual dynamic, which is love. Yeah. So I hope that answered the question. I'm chatty, so we're going to get a long answer. I see you. Hello, Jason Biscetti, 6547. Welcome, brother. Diana Divine, how do you keep your heart from hardening how do you keep your heart from hardening and getting cold after loss? That is a choice. That is a choice, and that is a decision. 7 years of Jesus take the wheel. Yeah, 7 years. I I don't think I'll ever need that again. I think that was a one and done. And it was a long time ago, but yeah, dude, 7 years. How do you keep your heart from hardening and getting cold after a loss? That is a day by day choice and a day by day decision. I have met people who've experienced so much loss in their life that they've just cut their hearts off. They're just like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I get it. I get it. I definitely get it. When you've experienced so much pain and loss, you're like, why would I willingly and intentionally put myself through this again? Um, I get it. But again, you run the risk of being very isolated in your life and honestly becoming a little weird. Um, if you continue to go down that road. I'll tell you what I've done for myself. And again, I'm not the poster child. I'm still healing myself. I'm still going through my processes. I'm personally entering a phase in my life where I want to be married again. I want to experience that kind of love again. It will not be an exact replica of what I experienced before. But there is a beauty in commitment and in doing life, committedly with someone else. So I'm looking for that for myself. But that is requiring that I open my heart in a way that I haven't opened my heart before. Or again, this on this side of grieving, this side of healing, it requires that you open your heart in another way than you did when you were fresh and before the losses and before life started lifing, right? Um, so when I say that it's a choice and it's a decision, I wish you guys could see what was happening over here. It's like all of Ubud has decided to fly through the house. Paul is over here like whipping, whipping flying creatures out of the house, man. And that never happens. I could sit here all damn day and this never happened. But I go live today and it's like Wild Kingdom in this piece, right? Thank you for thank you for taming the wild beast. It's freaking crazy around here. I wish you could see what's happening. I'm trying not to be distracted, and he's like, anyway, so back to your question. Um, uh, yeah, so I'm like, I have to choose to, I have to choose to um, defrost my heart. We watch a lot of Hollywood, like a lot of Hollywood movies. Hollywood has destroyed our expectations of what real relationships look like and how they move. Like watching YA, young adult dramas and stuff. I'm just like, God, why do they keep putting out this shit? It like totally setting people up for disappointment because um real relationships don't look like that. And they just don't look like that. And but it sells because when you are young and you want to love and you want to be loved and all that kind of stuff, you're like, oh yes, it's like this. And you get to some age and you're like, why isn't anyone behaving the way they did in the movies? It's because that's not real life, right? And so what am I talking about? There's so much happening. Um, and so I feel like those movies and whatnot have really done a number on us. And when you want to have like new relationship, when um, yeah, that's right. When you want to feel loved, and when you want to defrost from being cold, in the movies, it's like, oh, this person is going to come into your life and they're going to love you so good. It's going to defrost your heart, and you can keep pushing them away and keep pushing them away and run over here, and they'll chase you, and there'll be this, like, I think this is all made for the girls, right? The guys don't watch this kind of stuff, right? But for the girls watch this kind of stuff. You can push them away, and can have all this drama, and they're gonna come and chase you and defrost your heart with their fiery love and all that kind of stuff. And people don't do that. People won't do that because they are living their own life and their own experience, and they too want to be loved. They don't want to be rejected. So while you're pushing them away and running off into the distance so they can chase you, they're going to be like, well, I'm going to go find somebody else, because I'm not going to chase someone who's rejecting me. And people who chase, people who reject them are hurt and need healing. Because if you are desiring someone to wound you, then that is speaking to something very deep within you that has not been loved and not been healed the way that it needs to. The people who want to be in your life will want to be in your life, and they'll prove it. They will prove it to you, because they will love you, they'll be kind to you, they'll be sensitive to you, and they won't do things to wound you. Not to say that accidents don't happen. We are human beings, and we're not perfect, right? But there are accidents, and then there are people who get off on hurting other people. And when you chase people who are hurting you on purpose only to get more hurt, then you're establishing a cycle in your life that is very damaging, very, very, very damaging, very damaging. And what you want to do is you want to stop, you want to pause and be like, okay, why do I want someone who doesn't want me? Why do I want someone more who doesn't want me than I even wanted them before? And this is all a product of woundedness that needs to be healed. And the truth is that if you allow yourself to take the time to love on yourself, to let God love you, and to heal your heart, the people that you attract and the people that you will want to have in your life will people who want to love you and who will love you well. And then that experience, it's addictive. It's addictive. Yeah, you're right. Those qualities are actually red flags sometimes. And so, to go back to your question, Diana Divine 9206, how do you keep your heart from hardening and getting cold after loss? No one's going to show up with some fiery, heated love to melt your heart. This is a decision and a choice that you have to make for yourself, because this is a direct pursuit of healing. And you have to want to have a warm heart. You have to want to not be alone and be isolated. You have to want to have love come into your life. And that is a personal journey and a personal work and a personal work of the spirit. No one is going to do it for you. No one needs to do it for you. No one has to do it for you. And no one is ever going to have the level of patience and time to do it for you. But when you start doing it for yourself, when you start loving yourself to do the personal work that's your work to do, you will find people who will come into your life who will add to that, and they'll give their love, they'll give their substance to add to that. But no one can pour into an empty vessel, an empty cup, and keep pouring without becoming depleted themselves. And, on a basic level, everyone is very selfish. Everybody is very, very selfish. And they're only going to give For the most part, most people are only going to give as much as they believe that they can receive back from themselves. And so, if you're not doing the work for yourself to love you and to heal you and to, um, you know, fill your cup as much as possible, um, waiting for someone else to fill it, you're going to be disappointed. You are. And it doesn't need to be that way, because there's enough love from the Spirit of God to fill you up and to overflow. And even when other people aren't showing up for you the way that you want them to, you still have love in your life, you know? And that's how I believe that you keep your heart from getting cold. You know, you have to choose to warm it up. hmm And last thing, I believe that you gotta at some point believe that you're worthy of not living in a cold existence. You know, that you're worthy of love and you're worthy of a new start. Yes, yes, yes. Hi, Olivia. Hi, my friend. How's my girl? Good question, Diana. Thank you so much. Mm-mm. Okay, we are just over an hour. Thank you guys so much. Love is truly a spiritual thing. Yes, it is. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this live, this first live. It has been live for real between, yeah, the ninja skills. Between the ninja skills that have been required to prevent the Ubud jungle from taking over the live and these amazing questions, and I hope answers that really you can take with you and really use and change what needs to be changed in your life. You know, this has been amazing. Thank you guys so much. Let's see. Defrost my heart. Okay, so let me I'm just making sure I'm answering all the questions. Thank you guys. Oh, Samantha Zoe. Hi, my sweetheart. Olivia and Samantha Zoe. My heart, my heart. Yeah, make sure to like the live, double tap on mobile. Thank you, Turtle Diaries. Thank you for joining us. Okay, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Okay, when's the next live? You know, I think I'm going to try to go live a couple of times a month. I'm also going to, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to everybody freaking out on YouTube about the new watch hours or whatever, but I'm going to get in on that and like show up during the week as well. I've been working on a couple of things that I hope will like warm this community and like, you know, invite more people into this space so we can like be gooey and heal together. Hi, my sweetheart. Mwah. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be going. I'm gonna go live a couple of times this month, per month, I think, and then show up throughout the week. So like, tune in and hit your notifications. So it'd be like, oh, Sarah's back on. All right, so for everyone who has joined the live today, I want to offer you a little gift. Again, we have passed 100 subscribers and we are over 25,000 views now. I am such a counter. I've been told over and over again, stop counting. Please stop counting. And I'm doing my best. I am. I am. Yeah, new watch hours starting February 1st, 2027. In order to be monetized on YouTube, you have to have 8,000 watch hours and I think like 100 million gajillion subscribers or something. I don't know, some shit. Everyone's really freaking out online about it. But there's 6 months between now and then. Everybody's like, you got to post every day. I'm not posting every day, but I will show up throughout the week. Yeah, counting will drive you crazy. So probably in a couple of weeks we'll do another live. I'll post it. And yeah, this this is a yummy space. So, and it's felt really good. Thank you for making my first one feel like this, guys. I appreciate you. So for joining today, I am giving everyone okay. So for those of you guys who don't know, I've written a book called Finding Your Glow. And it is on pre-sale now. We're getting ready to start shipping the paperback versions pretty soon. Hardcover dust jacket is being designed or being put together by the printer. So those will be shipping as soon as those are ready. For those who have already pre-ordered, thank you so much. What was it? Give me a heart. Yes, it did. Give me a heart. Thank you so much for your orders already. Thank you for your patience while they've been being put together. We're going to get those out to you ASAP. For those of you who joined the live and haven't ordered yet, my gift to you for spending this time together and for celebrating our achievements here on this channel is a 10% off on the Finding Your Glow book. And we're going to have a book and a journal. So if you buy the journal and the book together, we're going to give you a 15% off of the bundle, right? So yes, we do have a digital book coming as well. Yeah, the ebook's coming, the audiobook is all coming. It's about to be a lot of activity here in the next few weeks. So keep your eyes open for it. We'll put the link for the pre-order in the comments below. But do me a favor and send me your email at info@findingyourglow.com and just say, I was in the live, and I will send you your code for your 10% off of the book and 15% off of your book and journal bundle. All right. This is not going to be transferable. It's only going to be for those folks who send me your email so I can make sure that I get it to you. So if you're not going to be able to give it to your friend and be like, here, get this off because because I'm going to have your email and I'm going to track it there. Right. So, again, info@findingyourglow.com. And we will get you your peasant. I love peasants. All right, so thank you again, everyone, for joining this live. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for opening your heart and being active and engaging in this. I really appreciate it. For everyone who's watching the replay later on, I hope you get a lot out of this, and I hope that you're truly, truly blessed. And I hope that we see you again on the next one and on the YouTubes. In the meantime, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. May the peace of God overtake your heart and your mind. May you find healing in unexpected places. May you find joy in even more unexpected places. And may the light and the hope and the peace and the love of God overtake you and make you smile. Love you so much. God bless you. And I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to my moderators. You guys are awesome. Thank you all for joining from everywhere you have been. We'll see you soon. Bye.